Hey y'all, welcome to Gadfly, the podcast about third parties, French candidates, and generally weird American electoral history. I'm Dusty Wilson.
I'm Una O'Leary.
And I'm diving in. I'm just diving in because the research on this part 2 about Randy Dandy Terry has just been insufferable. It's been difficult. And the sooner I get started on it, the sooner I get to commiserate and laugh with you. So
I want you to start doing studies of like your overall health, like when these research binges end, if you are less tired or feel like better overall.
I have started tracking my sleep, so that might actually end up
I'm so curious.
matching pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah, data nerds, sign for our Patreon.
Oh my God. Yeah. If you, well, speaking of which, I do want to give a shout out to our very first Patreon. So thank you very much, Opal, for being being our first ever and our first ever $10 subscriber.
Pew, pew,
So
pew, pew.
thank you so much. I guess this means that if you sign up for our Patreon, we'll probably give you a shout out.
Yeah.
Definitely by first name, if you know, that feels less invasive.
Yeah.
So
We'll do one of those first name and last name initial.
but yeah, so I'm ready because I feel like there's a lot of things that are funny in this, but I've had to take it so seriously because, like I said, this is Randall Terry, who, once again, trigger warning, we're going to be talking a whole lot about abortion again because that is Randall Terry's life, is that no one should be allowed to do it ever.
Yeah, it's banning abortions and getting you into these gently used all-wheel drive tires.
Hey, he moved up to cars when we left. He has moved up from used tires to used cars. So, but yes, you're right. So anyway, when we last left Randall Terry, he's in his 20s, and he is just started Operation Rescue, which is his giant organization that protests abortion clinics. And by protest, I mean he gets a few hundred people to stand in front of the front door to block entrance and exits and to harass patients until they're weeping and
Yes.
stalk doctors and employees of there until the police finally show up and throw them in jail.
Yeah, terrorize.
So when we last left him, he Operation Rescue led a 5-day protest of abortion clinics throughout the 5 boroughs of New York City. And by 5 boroughs, I mean Manhattan, Queens, and the infamously not New York City, Long Island.
Indeed, yes.
And while the protest did not lead to any clinics closing, they did rack up hundreds of arrests and got national attention. And really, if you had to choose between, saving babies and getting national attention, one's a bigger victory than the other if you're doing this.
The national attention leads to saved fetuses.
Exactly. It's
question mark, question mark, question mark.
Damn it, you beat me to it. You beat me fucking to it. You're taking advantage of my mental state. How dare you? But the thing that really, really sucked about stopping after the New York City protests is in 1988, that wouldn't even be the biggest protest that Operation Rescue did.
What?
Because, and it's really appropriate for today, in Atlanta, Georgia in 1988, in the month of August, the Democratic National Convention was about to go down.
Hey, topical.
People traveling cross country to see Michael Dukakis.
Oh,
yeah.
He would have been great.
He would have been perfectly fine.
He would have been
comparatively to what we got. He would have been fine.
He just had the tank optics. God damn it!
It's a good thing we've grown since then.
We could have had a Greek Orthodox president.
Oh my God. I don't know how to feel about you knowing that would have been our first Greek Orthodox president, but I'll take it.
I read a lot of Jeffrey Eugenides. It gets mentioned.
Perfect. Love it. But yeah, so the Democratic National Convention's going down in Atlanta. And what could be even better for attention than to go down to Atlanta and do the exact same thing that you did in New York City?
Atlanta's got everything.
Freaknik. Andre 3000.
Yeah.
Cartoon Network eventually.
Oh, yeah. Turner.
Ted Turner fixing everything, quote unquote, asterisks. It's gonna be a very weird episode. Anyway, yeah, so Randall decides to grab his few hundred closest friends and go down to Atlanta and protest the couple of abortion clinics that are there. Problem is, when you go to protest a national convention, whether it be the GOP or the Democrats, other people are going there with the same idea that you are.
Oh.
And in the grand scheme of things, the protests that Randy was leading did not get a lot of attention. The two that did is that, Jesse Jackson was there. He was a runner up in the Democratic nominating convention, so he was going to be there to get to speak. So a bunch of racists and skinheads showed up.
Natch.
After them, ACT UP showed up to protest the fact that, people just weren't doing anything to fix AIDS.
Right. Yep.
And so that got a lot of attention. And so when you get down to Randy and the 134 arrests that happened at the one clinic they protested at, and the fact that the protest only lasted an hour because that's how long it took the cops to clear everyone, no one really gave a shit.
It only took an hour because they were stuck in traffic for half the time and only got there near the end.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. It was like an amuse bouche for the cops to like show up at 8 in the morning and do that and be like, all right, I'm good and stretched for whoever else I have to hit today. And so by all means, this should have been an abject failure lost to the dustbin of history. But 4 days after the DNC ended, 103 of the arrested protesters were still in jail because they refused to give their real names.
Oh,
When the
this
cops
again.
asked them, "Who are you?" they would say either Baby John or Baby Jane Doe.
People are exhausting.
Yeah. And since they didn't say who they weren't able to get bond and also were charged with giving a fraudulent name.
Nice.
And after 3 more days in jail, the number of people refusing to identify themselves dropped to 32, but this time included Randall as well. But since they remained in jail, they now got to claim that they were political prisoners. It's just beautiful little martyrdom all for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Operation Rescue used this as a reason to make Atlanta the base protest for as long as the 36 protesters remained in jail. And Randall promised that this would result in 500 more protesters descending onto the city. He overestimated a little, but not by. If you're doing chunk math, not by a lot. Anywhere between 100 to 300 more people arrived. And this led Operation Rescue to kind of shift their goals. So instead of saying that like 500 people are going to show up, Randall changed it so that they were now aiming for about 25 people a day to get arrested. Because the
Okay.
goal now is to flood the Atlanta prison system to the point that the city is having to pay more money to feed them and use that as a mode of protest.
At any point, were the Atlanta cops or like Georgia government just looking at this like, we had Jim Crow until the late 60s, like, try us?
I don't think they were that aware of that as an answer, but there was a lot of the people in government and people in the prison system being like, yeah, fine, whatever. We'll make room.
Right. This state originally existed as a penal colony and then plantation network.
Yup.
It's in our DNA.
Right.
We'll find food for you.
Right. And yeah, and so there were a lot of articles saying that, it's costing the city an extra X $100,000 a day to have all these prisoners here. And it's like, yeah, but it's also the prison system. It's not like they'll keep that place empty. It's not like they're running a shortage of 300 free beds that are just never being used.
Yeah.
This ended up being a much more reasonable goal, and within a week, the number of arrestees had gone up as many as 10 times, and 300 people were now in jail.
Okay.
On August 8th, a judge ruled that until the protesters gave their real names, they would remain in jail indefinitely. Randy counteroffered a deal where everyone would plead guilty, but only if they were allowed to use Baby John or Jane Doe as their official name.
Randy, we are not haggling over quote unquote not yet bald tires.
No, this is how plea deals work. It's like it's a bargaining system.
I plea, you counter plea.
Nothing cops love more than haggling. The main issue with this too is that, if you're pleading guilty, you're gonna get a fine or you're gonna get a summons to decide how much jail time you get. And if you don't give your real name, that fine or punishment goes to no one. You can just leave the state. So you just kind of you have to give your real name so they know who to charge. But also, what good is being in jail if you can't milk it for all the martyrdom you can? And that martyrdom would come in the form of America's most famous grifters. On August 10th, Televangelists Jerry Falwell and Pat Robertson took up the cause of freeing Randall's political prisoners.
Here we go.
Falwell donated $10,000 of his own money, citation needed, to the group's legal fees. And Pat Robertson took to his syndicated show The 700 Club to implore his listeners to drop everything and go protest in Atlanta. Now, of course, neither Falwell or Robertson went to Atlanta to protest because, reasons, but hundreds of listeners did listen to them, and they made their way to Atlanta within the next week. By the 17th, another 250 people were arrested while protesting clinics. So naturally, this should boost up the number of prisoners up to 550, but people kind of got bored of being in prison because there's not a lot to do and it sucks. So people started cycling out and just giving their name.
Nice.
So after these 250 got arrested, there were only 321 left in prison. So it was like an even wash. But lucky for the 321 remaining, 44 members of Congress got together and wrote to the mayor of Atlanta, Andrew Young, begging him to pardon all of the prisoners, which Andrew Young did not do.
Yay! Good job, Andrew Young.
And in the end, that ended up being the right call. The first week of September saw the first canceled protests by Operation Rescue, and clinics believed that the month-and-a-half-long movement was dying out. Operation Rescue said that the cancellations were due to a training that they were doing for what they were going to call the Siege of Atlanta, which was exactly like the protests they did in New York. It's going to be 5 days, beginning of October. And you got to train people to do the same thing you've been doing.
Yeah, you got to figure out which exit you're taking.
However, they weren't able to explain the fact that the number of prisoners who refused to give their name had dropped from 321 to 4.
Whoa!
Yeah, it's people gave up on that really, really fast when they found out what the reality of indefinite prison was like.
Yeah, where's your God now?
Love it. So true to their word, though, the Siege of Atlanta did occur, with just one little hitch. The day before it began, Randall was arrested on charges of conspiracy to commit a crime, and he was held in prison with a bond of $75,000. Terry issued a statement that read, quote, "At the height of the civil rights movement 20 years ago, civil rights leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. were not subject to preventative detention before a protest took place."
You keep his name out of your mouth, Terry. You are in Atlanta.
Oh, I should mention, around this time when Falwell and Robertson are praising Randall Terry, he is willingly taking comparisons to Martin Luther King Jr. and consistently saying, oh, everything I'm doing is stuff that I learned from him. Yeah. Yeah.
The chutzpah of this guy.
The protesters were also issued an injunction from the city banning them from blocking the entrances and exits of any clinics where they protested, or from harassing any patients or employees. 343 protesters broke this injunction and were arrested that day. The thing, though, is this sudden burst of prisoners, according to the Atlanta Bureau of Corrections, made it really difficult to process everyone quickly.
Oh, geez.
Quote, due to limited staff and the large amounts of arrests, there's going to be a delay in processing arrestees who make bail. In 2 days, the city was only able to process and release 30 of the 300 plus arrestees, which meant that the following days of protests were very sparsely attended. On October 8th, the final day of the protests, 300 protesters arrived at the last demonstration, of which 40 were arrested. The 300 was far lower than Randy's prediction of 1,000. Editorialist of the Atlanta Constitution, Tom Teppen, was quick to note that many televangelists were keen to promote the event, but none attended themselves. As for Randall, he was fined $1,000, which of course he refused to pay. This meant he got to spend 4 months in prison that had a focus on hard labor.
Ooh.
I honestly didn't know we had hard labor prisons in the late 80s. It makes sense. I mean, we force prisoners to work for free. But the idea of hard labor is just like, oh, pickaxes and rocks. That's all that is.
I mean, we're in the South, and I feel like the 80s were very, like, I don't think the South caught up in that regard until like 2001. Like, it was a Y2K feature.
So with everything I've said about Randall so far, this lengthy and difficult prison sentence should have been the thing to push him into the stratosphere. He's well known. He has the support of some of the wealthiest and most well-connected televangelists. He could literally hit the ground running the second he got out of prison. Instead, a day after he was released, which, once again, someone paid for him to get out, Randall made the shocking announcement that Operation Rescue was deep in debt and would be closing their national headquarters in Binghamton. In total, the org was in $70,000 of debt, 50,000 of which came from broken injunctions during their protest in New York City. If you remember, the a judge in New York City stated that for every day that Randall broke the injunction, $25,000 would go to the National Organization for Women.
Yeah.
That's where
Pay
that 50,000
up.
comes from.
Oh
Yep.
my God.
The remaining $20,000 had been accrued from appealing that decision for the national. Yeah. So since he was still in the process of appeals, Randall said that all money raised by Operation Rescue now had to go to legal fees and nothing else.
Wow,
But he
straight up
assured,
Trump campaign right now.
but he assured that despite the organization closing their national headquarters, absolutely nothing is going to change. On June 11th, 1990, the New York Times reported that a lot was going to change.
Incredible.
For one, Randall Terry's personal debt due to breaking injunctions in New York City and Atlanta had now grown to $450,000.
Holy cow.
Operation Rescue laid off 21 of their 24 employees, and the offices were set for a hard close at the end of the year. In a bit of lazy shiftiness, Randall got a 30-something-year-old pastor from South Carolina to start Operation Rescue National to continue his work, but under a legally different name. One that Randall would not control or run, but, just kind of a little cup and ball shadiness. And to make things even more fun, federal marshals were called in, and they seized the payroll to see if there was anything there they could use to pay any of the $500,000 worth of fines.
Wow.
On December 15th, Operation Rescue closed their offices in Binghamton, and all remaining staff were laid off. Randall used the occasion to say that this was actually a good thing, and gave the group a chance to continue their work, quote, underground. When the colonies signed the Declaration of Independence, the British captured Philadelphia, thinking that if they didn't have the capital, they wouldn't be able to fight. But they moved the capital. That's what we're doing.
Did Jesus die and give up? No, he came back 3 days later stronger than ever.
Did George Washington get all pissy because they had to move the capital to York, Pennsylvania? No. Well, maybe he did because York sucks, but they did it anyway. As for the debt, it kind of continued to go unpaid and grow more and more. Thanks to a court case in Washington, D.C., Randall tacked on another $60,000 to his debt. On top of that, Judge Louis Oberdorfer noted that Operation Rescue hadn't used any of the funds that they had raised to pay off their debt, and if they continued this practice, then he would have no choice but to make the people who donated to Operation Rescue pay off the debt, which sounds kind of fucky. The bigger details for it was just going to be people who directly paid certain bills. So if a person or an organization is like, oh, we're going to pay your rent this month, or we're going to pay your electric bill, then all of a sudden they're going to be on the hook for the funds that needed to go to the National Organization for Women.
It's like having a lot of little guarantors instead of one giant guarantor.
That's an excellent point. So when they closed the building, waiting outside for them were 20 pro-choice protesters who were there for the closing and held a small celebration in the street. And this included Margaret Johnson, who is the director and founder of Southern Tier Women's Services, the very first org that Randy tried to shut down and continues to fail at doing so. So while Operation Rescue was shuttered, Operation Rescue National led their own mass protest in 1991 that was far more well attended than anything Randall ever put together. Thousands of protesters traveled to Wichita, Kansas to march at the office of George Tiller, one of the few private practice doctors in America that performed late-term abortion. Now, if that name's familiar, that is because in 2009, George Tiller was assassinated in front of his church.
Yeah.
So nearly 2,000 protesters arrived, including Randall. When he was presented with an injunction to stop, he immediately grabbed the injunction and yelled, "What injunction? Our injunction comes from God."
Keep this man in prison!
A judge ordered Operation Rescue National to pay a bond of $100,000 for all the protesters to be released at once, and Randall predicted that the judge would shortly get admonished and possibly removed by George H.W. Bush by the end of the protests. Randall also made bail that day and left Wichita, never to return because he was effectively banned from the city. Also, 2 weeks later, George H.W. Bush lumped Operation Rescue in with all the violent abortion protesters. protesters.
Yeah.
And Randall requested a meeting with Bush to state his case and tell him how he was wrong, but H.W. Bush refused to meet with him.
The one good thing he did. Yeah, he's not
Um,
an idiot like his sons.
so I cut this and to show the level that Randall, the fame that he thought he had, that he could demand meetings with famous people. There was a moment where he demanded a meeting with the Pope. And
With a papist? The
Yep,
papist?
yep. And the Pope declined.
Yeah, JP Juice is like, who in 12 languages?
Yeah, well, there was a lovely political cartoon of Randall Terry standing in front of the Pope with just the caption of Randy, I think you're supposed to kiss his ring.
That's nice. I like
Pretty
that.
great.
Yeah, it's good.
But what was really weird about Wichita is that, the whole cutting and running thing was brand new for Randall. And people had noted that before he had no problem with going to jail and getting arrested. It was just, he'd protest every single day. It's how he got his start. But just completely dipping was very much unlike him. And it wouldn't become public knowledge until 1991. But behind the scenes, Russell had been dealing with a whirlwind of chaos as his movement grew. In a Washington Post article by Charles E. Shepard, it was revealed how difficult 1990 had been for Randall. It notes that as Operation Rescue grew, Randall was unable to keep up. He seems to kind of have a habit of micromanaging everything, and with Operation Rescue, they added local groups that could, go out and protest, but operated under the banner of Operation Rescue. And the more people that got added, the more he wanted to have direct involvement with each and every group.
Uh-oh.
Eventually, his aides convinced him that, like, hey, maybe you should, hand out assignments to people. Don't put all the work on yourself.
Yeah,
Delegate
delegate.
a little bit. And Randall agreed for a little bit. So one quote from a fellow member is that, quote, Randall interrupted yesterday's project for tomorrow. So Terry claims that, abandoning the whole idea of delegation only had to happen because he was getting sued too much. And every single bit of attention had to go to the lawsuits, which included a fairly impossible suit that the National Organization for Women filed on him. They tried to get him on RICO charges.
I mean, everyone wants to get someone on a RICO charge.
Right.
I don't
It's
blame them, but it's really like rarely, if ever, is it a RICO charge.
right. It's the lupus of law. It's like you can't. It's so fucking rare. And I get what they were going at, just being like all these anti-choice people are getting together to try to, figure out how to fuck with us. And it's like, but no, it's Rico. It's never going to fucking happen. But as Patricia Ireland, the executive director of Now, said, quote, people may be willing to go to jail for the weekend. When you start going after their bank accounts or their cars, I think it has a serious deterrent effect. And by 1991, the large confederation of anti-abortion groups that worked under Operation Rescue had dwindled to just a few dozen that exercised far more independence. One group in Portland, Oregon noted that the tactics of Terry's rescuing resulted in protesters getting burned out very quickly and discovering how unwilling they were to actually get fined or arrested on a regular basis. Especially since for most people, even one arrest can have a devastating impact on income or employment.
Yeah, which is maybe why, we should rethink our prison system.
Yeah.
But, yeah, keep beating that anti-abortion drum.
Right. Well, and it also makes it extra fucky that people like Jerry Falwell and Pat Robertson weren't doing anything because they could have afforded this easily. And, it probably would have had more impact if they're the ones going to jail every single day than just, forcing people who could barely, drive to Wichita to go to jail every single day.
Yeah, but it's the whole like MAGA setup, the people donating constantly to the RNC, which just ends up going into Trump's pocket to pay for legal fees, are the people who can barely afford to send in an extra $20 or $200.
Right. So it should also be stated that they reported that Terry's jail sentence when he was in Atlanta, the 4 months that he served for hard labor, had a huge effect on his mental health. Because Terry had kind of been expecting, after the outpouring of support that he had received from Falwell and Robertson, that there would be a huge national outcry when he was jailed, and he was truly shocked that no one seemed to care. As he said, quote, I grossly overestimated my own importance.
Oof. Oof.
When Terry got out of jail, he, like we said before, he announced that Operation Rescue was in tons of debt. They were going to be closing their headquarters. But what people hadn't known is that Randall had also fired all of his aides and anyone who had acted as org leadership while he was in prison. And this is kind of twofold. On one hand, he had sent a letter out to the people in charge, and they had used that personal letter as a way to make themselves seem like they have more power. And two is that the group seemed to be pushing for more power while he was in jail because they viewed Randall's understandable difficulty of adapting to prison as weakness.
Oh no, when I voted for the face-eating leopard party, I didn't assume it would be my face that the leopards would eat.
I mean, well, and personal addendum on this, I actually kind of feel bad for Randall on this because, he clearly went through something while in prison.
Yeah.
It's a common thing that happens. But there was a quote from one person who was in leadership while Randall was in prison. And essentially the guy was like, well, he knew what prison was going to be like before he went. So I don't know why he's acting like this. And it's just like, it's just toxic masculinity, really. It's just like,
Yes.
like Randall's your friend. Supposedly he is your friend and you're out here fighting with him for something that, as the group always said, if abortion is murder, then act like it's murder. And so he's fighting with these people on a regular basis and no one is there for him when he is in need.
I wish I could feel bad for him.
Yeah, I'm not saying you
I
should, but this is also just like, this is a human moment that he doesn't really learn from. But if it
Yeah.
was anyone else, this is a chance to feel bad.
Yeah, I feel bad that there isn't a greater reckoning of
Mhm.
community
Yeah,
and in that masculinity. But I don't know. You arrived at prison thanks to a platform based on hate.
right.
And
Well,
then you surrounded yourself with people who wanted that too.
yeah. And I was thinking a lot about Eugene Debs with this too, because Eugene went to prison a lot due to things that
So
he
much.
believed in, but he at least got out of that and was like, wow, the prison system sucks shit. This is awful. I should fight against this. I should do
Yes.
something to ensure that people don't get in this. And,
Yes.
Randall doesn't exactly learn that lesson.
No, I don't want to say there's a lack of conviction because obviously he has conviction for this anti-abortion measure, but
Right.
it is just that single issue. And there's also, I don't get a great sense aside from just like some level of like evangelical Christian doctrine says so. But I
Mhm.
feel like the difference with Eugene Debs is just like, how do I make the world a better place? And then he's in this
Right.
terrible place and it's like, wow, this is terrible. This is also an angle of society I had yet to see, and most people don't. Holy shit. This is also not good. Like,
Mhm.
I'm putting that on the to-do list
Right.
now.
Yeah, that's excellent point. So the sudden change did allow Randall to, step away from full-time speaking and protesting and into what would kind of be his new career, syndicated radio talk show host.
Hey, now we're in the 90s.
Yeah, he's kicking off Randy Terry Live.
Yes.
While he prepared for his radio show, his income came from a charitable trust, which allowed him to put down a payment on a four-bedroom home for his wife, daughter, and three new foster children.
Okay, yeah, I was curious when you mentioned that he was in hard labor prison for 4 months. Like, wait,
Mhm.
is he a father at this?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
what is his wife doing? And like, how are his kids doing?
Oh, Cindy does not have a job. But yeah, but she had gotten like $20,000 worth of donations while Randall was in prison, at least during the Atlanta stint.
Right.
But yeah, they have a child of their own, and they fostered three kids, adopted two of them, and they were all the children of a woman that Randall talked out of having an abortion, and then fostered the kids because she couldn't afford to have children. That's why she was getting an abortion.
Reminds me of how apparently like it's coming to light now that the reason that fertility rates are at an all-time low in the States and like one of the major talking points for JD Vance and everything
Yeah,
is because we've been really successful at eliminating teen pregnancy.
yeah, that would make a lot of fucking sense.
Uh,
So one of the fired aides called out Randall's shift to radio as him losing his nerve and no longer putting himself at risk like the protesters do. The Washington Times noted that prior to 1989, Randall had been arrested 35 times and served a total of 8 months in jail. Since then, he'd been arrested twice and served 8 days. Now, that's not to say he doesn't get arrested in the future, but his long stints in jail are mostly a thing of the past at this point.
yeah, yeah. Well, I feel like he's just been burned at like this isn't going to lead to fame, if
Yeah,
nothing else. Like,
right. It's accomplishing nothing. Like, if your goal is to outlaw abortion, what he's doing has no effect on that in the future.
mhm.
All he's doing is like throwing people into debt just from, having to pay bail bondsmen or court fines or things like that. But radio did seem to suit him well enough. He got to record from his office in Binghamton, he got to spend more time with his family, and he got to go into other pursuits. Like, I don't know, running for political office. Because we're a political podcast, goddammit. And it might take an episode and a half, but we're gonna talk about this motherfucker running for office.
The personal is political, or the political is personal. I don't either way.
Yeah. So on July 22nd, 1992, Randall announces his intention to run for Congress of the United States in New York's 23rd District as a candidate of the New York State Right to Life Party.
Hey.
The Right to Life Party was founded in 1970, immediately after the decriminalization of abortion in New York. The party got off to a slow start due to issues with getting on the ballot, but in 1978, they ran their first ticket for governor and lieutenant governor with Mary Jane Tobin and Ellen McCormick. Ellen McCormick had run in the Democratic presidential primary in 1976 and earned 22 delegates, just on an anti-abortion platform.
Oh, damn.
This gubernatorial ticket received over 130,000 votes, or 2.7% of the vote, which was more than enough for them to gain automatic ballot status. By the time Randall was considering running as a congressional candidate for them, he had just missed the high water mark for the party. 1990, their gubernatorial ticket won 3.4% of the vote, but after that, their vote total just keeps getting halved year after year.
Ah, funny how that happens.
Yeah, and then
Every time.
And then in 2006, they lose their automatic ballot status. Technically, they're still around, but I don't think they've endorsed anyone for office for a long ass time.
Well, Roe v. Wade doesn't exist anymore, so you fuckers win.
Right. Fuck. I keep purposely forgetting that.
Yes. I keep remembering that.
So Randall running in 1992, it seems like you're on a rising tide with this party, but you have no clue the boat's actually sinking.
Oh, it's buying a house in 2007.
Shut your mouth. Yeah. So Randall Terry started his first ever political run. And when asked of his entry, incumbent GOP Congressman Sherwood Boehlert said, quote, "Terry probably qualifies as one of the 10 least popular men in America." And pretty much alluded he has no reason to worry about Randall Terry entering the race. Randall stated that the focus of his campaign, aside from ending abortion, was to focus on trade with China, banning women from military service, and ending welfare due to, quote, bankrupting America's soul. So that said, rather than running for office, Randall spent the beginning of his campaign going to court. One case involved a moment where a member of Operation Rescue intercepted Democratic presidential nominee Bill Clinton on his morning jog.
No.
Dude intercepted him, was like holding a piece of paper on top of a box, be like, "Oh, can I have your autograph?" And when he went to sign, the dude took the paper away, and in the box, supposedly, is an aborted human fetus.
I doubt it, but
I would hope, but I can't find anything saying that it was a hoax.
it's like in my mind, it's just like green grapes and cooked spaghetti like you're at a Halloween party.
Oh my God.
Put your hand in here. Those are its brains.
I can't open the box. You just have to feel inside. So
wow, but also like I just love these little stories that were pre 9/11 life. Like the fact that you could get up to him as he's jogging.
Right, you could just walk up to some yokel who's gonna be president and like pull a prank and be very serious about it. Bill Clinton did not want to press charges because he was like, for him, it was like, well, that was fucking weird. I guess move on.
Hey, man,
but the
I
attorney
hope you'll
general,
vote for me.
Right, but the attorney general of New York was like, we are suing you. I don't know for what.
We're gonna bury you.
There's probably some sort of like medical waste law we can hit you on.
Love that.
Yeah.
Biohazards.
Meanwhile, in Houston, of all places, Randall got arrested for preaching and praying within 100 feet of an abortion clinic and got sentenced to a $500 fine and 6 months in prison. So when Congressman Boehlert was told of this and that Randy was in jail, he said, quote, "That's probably where he belongs."
Hell yes. Bowler, you got my vote.
I mean, there are a lot of grading on a curve decent Republicans in this story, and Sherwood Boehlert is at least saying the right stuff right now.
Yep. It was a more instant time.
So of that 6 months in prison, he served 3 days because the Texas Supreme Court ordered his release.
Why?
Texas.
Do the crime, pay the time.
So despite him being out of prison by September, it doesn't look like Randall actually spent much time campaigning. The most I can find is him declaring that if someone voted for Bill Clinton, then they were, quote, sinning against God.
and loving it.
As such, Sherwood Boehlert won decisively with 63% of the vote, and Randall finished third out of five candidates with a genuinely impressive 4%.
Wow. Who was below him?
The guy who won the nomination for the Conservative Party, because in New York they have fusion voting, so multiple parties can nominate the same person. So you usually get the Working Families Party co-endorsing the Democratic nominee, and the Conservative Party co-endorses the Republican. But every once in a while there's a split, or the primary
Mm,
gets all weird.
nice.
So Sherwood Boehlert was a moderate, so it makes sense that like the Conservative Party went with someone else.
Yes.
In fifth place was the Natural Law Party nominee.
Amazing. Okay.
So now, admittedly, we're running a bit long. So we're gonna just jump from 1993 and 1997. All you need to know is he wrote two books, one of which was titled "Why Does a Nice Guy Like Me Keep Getting Thrown in Prison?"
No, he didn't invoke nice guy TM.
Uh-huh, with ellipses and everything. It was
Incredible.
and he got 5 months in prison for the Bill Clinton fetus stunt, of which I have no idea how much time he actually served.
Okay, when is he writing? When is he putting out his country album?
We're getting there.
Okay,
Oh, we are getting there.
okay,
All right.
ready.
So now, December 1997, he's hopping back on the campaign trail, but this time he's actually gonna try. And he
To
kicks the.
stay out of jail?
You know what? He actually might. I don't remember. We'll get to it.
Okay.
So during the NFL playoffs in December, he makes a $50,000 ad buy to inform the entirety of South Central New York that he is running for Congress once again. But most importantly, he is now running in the GOP primary. And this time, he wouldn't be alone, because running with him would be 7 other candidates who dubbed themselves the Patrick Henry Men. And they all united under the banner of being anti-abortion, anti-tax, anti-government, and Christian fundamentalists.
Yeah, these guys know how to roofie a drink.
As for competitors in his own primary, Randy would face moderate businessman Bud Walker. So plenty of room to the right if that's what people want.
Mhm.
And Randall would just have to overcome a couple of issues. One is that his debt from court fees and all of that is now up to about $1 million.
Damn.
And most of that is money that he owes to Planned Parenthood and the National Organization for Women.
Oh, that's so delicious.
Of the $1 million, he'd only paid back $6,000.
God, this is like my student loans.
Well, the courts got so impatient that they forced him to give the National Organization for Women his frequent flyer miles. And he had enough that it equaled one domestic round trip flight.
Ladies, where would you like to get your abortion today? Missouri. Who needs a flight?
Hey, Gloria Allred, do you want to take a flight to Tampa?
Hey.
So on top of that, because owing $1 million to people that you demonize like Planned Parenthood, that's a badge of honor. It's a little harder though when the other issue is that you're a bit behind on your state taxes. Turns out multiple tax warrants had been issued for Randy in 1990, 1992, and 1993 to a total of $4,100. Now, he did pay those late taxes right before or entering the race, but it really would answer why he was so against taxes, specifically property taxes, going into this race.
Incredible.
So to balance all of this out, Randall fundraised a massive war chest, especially for the time. He ended up getting $662,000 by the summer, making him the most well-funded candidate in the entire race and an abnormally amongst the Patrick Henry men. In comparison, another New York dude running for Congress by the name of Jerry Crawford was only able to get $28.91 for his entire campaign.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so Randall is not spreading the wealth, so to say.
No, 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 no. Also, these numbers are so adorable. And then I remember this is pre-Citizens United, and this is what it's supposed to be.
Yep.
And now I'm angry all over again.
There is another thing I cut out where Randy's radio show had donated in-kind things to his campaign, and I read the sentence that it was illegal for a corporation to give a campaign money, and I died. I just shut my computer, stared at the lake for a bit.
Yeah.
Just
until you could breathe through the moment and then empty your pockets of the stones.
an inadvertently cursed paragraph. Just like, yeah, of course a business can't give money to a campaign. What are we, crazy?
Yeah, it's a business. It doesn't even make any sense.
So the thing though is that you have enough money, you can get past not paying your taxes. You paid your due, everything's fine. But it's really really hard to keep things moving when video clips start surfacing of
Mm.
you saying shitty things.
Oh, incredible. And this is YouTube. This is
Mhm.
great.
The very first clip was discovered by the Republican Leadership Council, which is a lot of major GOP congressmen who did not want Randall to be a congressman.
Nice. I
Uh,
love
they
it when
found
they eat their own.
They found a clip from 1993 where Randy said, quote, "I want you to just let a wave of intolerance wash over you. Let some hate wash over you. Yes, hatred is good."
Wall Street too.
That actually does exist, though. There is a Wall
Yeah, I
Street,
know.
too.
Yeah.
So Randy would essentially go the "it's just a prank, bro" excuse by saying he was being sarcastic and he was clearly telling a joke, and the clip is clearly taken out of context.
Boo.
On September 10th, another clip surfaced from 1994. And in the clip, Randy is saying that all women should be submissive to men, especially in the home. And in the home, the man is like a god to a woman. You know, that old chestnut. And the funny thing about this is during a debate, he was asked if he ever said that, and he said no.
Yeah, incredible.
And then he was presented with the transcript of the clip, and he said, "Well, yeah, I said it, but that was taken out of context. I didn't mean it."
Oh my God. I feel like I'm having deja vu to like any clip that surfaces these days of JD Vance on
Yeah, oh
like
my
any
God.
number of podcasts
Yeah.
where it's just like, you have to watch out because the mob, the Irish, they can
Yeah.
really take over a city.
It's always in the six corners, you know. You know
Yeah.
how you do.
The gang warfare.
I mean, who the fuck ever saw gangs in New York and thought, yeah, the butcher, that's the hero of the story. That's the guy that we should all, aspire to be.
Like, really, you're gonna say this at a police union?
Right? Right? What the oh my god. So thanks to this double hit, Randy lost to Bud Walker. But he did get the nomination of the Right to Life Party once again. He also said he would stay in the race just to make sure Bud Walker lost. A true example of a spoiler candidate. And when Democrat incumbent Maurice Hinchey was told of this, he said, quote, "I don't understand that. Why would he do that? I'm not necessarily pleased or displeased by it one way or another. It just comes as a surprise to me."
Oh my God, everyone's so dumb and innocent.
I miss these politics because every quote has been a banger. Like, it's just the most common sense shit of just like, look, I don't want to wish ill on my opponent, but why? Why?
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
I feel like you could be doing something else with your time
Like,
and your
Randy,
money.
you obviously hate me. Why are you doing this? But Terry did make the confident claim that as long as he got 37% of the vote in the general election, Randy was sure that he would win. And sadly, Randy only got one of those numbers right. And on election day, he won 7%, which is still
Amazing.
really fucking good for a third party.
And one as odious as him.
It's infuriating. And Maurice Henchy would cruise to an incumbent victory with 62% of the vote. Randy dealt with losing this election by filing for Chapter 7 bankruptcy.
Whew.
At this point, he now owed $1.6 million in court fines.
Oh my God.
And it'd be one thing if he was actually broke, but on the day that he filed, he also included this statement, quote, "I cannot in good conscience permit the National Organization of Women, Planned Parenthood, and others who have profited from abortion to harass my wife and family and possibly get money from me to continue their crusade against unborn life. Hence, I have filed a Chapter 7 petition to discharge my debts to those who would use my money to promote killing of the unborn. Now, I'm no money lawyer, but this feels like a big old crime."
Yeah. Yeah.
Like bankruptcy fraud, is that a thing? So here's the argument that Randy would make that he actually was broke. It was set up that for his radio show, he wasn't getting paid to do it. He was just doing it. But his wife also got a paycheck, and it was probably about the amount that Randy would have been paid for doing a radio show, but it's going to
Mm.
her. He himself doesn't have that money.
Wow. Wow. Okay. You know what? You probably can't stick a RICO charge on him, but that is some mafia shit.
Yeah, that's at least some lazy fraud.
Yeah, that's the deed and the car are in my wife's name.
I don't know who was bad at being a mafia or like a group of mafioso, but that would have been them. It would have been like whoever the Gambinos made fun of on a regular basis.
Hmm.
So the way Chapter 7 works is that you say you're broke, but the government ends up bringing in a trustee to review your assets, then sells off any of those assets that are worth anything, uses that to pay off your debts, and any debt that remains after all your assets are gone, not counting your house, because they can't kick you out of your home.
Mm.
Everything that's left over just gets canceled. However, the Press and Sun Bulletin in Binghamton noted that criminal fines are not subject to being canceled under Chapter 7 bankruptcy. And that was the vast majority of the $1.6 million levied against Randall. So the best case scenario of all of this is that Randy's just trying to put it off for another year.
Randy, the interest is just going to grow.
Funny you say that because after a half year, the court said, no, you don't get to claim bankruptcy on this. And now you owe $2 million. I'll give it to Randy. He does the sensible thing in this case. He buys a Christian radio station immediately after.
Oh my God.
Look, they can't take your assets if you don't have assets. So you got to give them an asset. You want a bunch of jars of clay CDs? Come on, come and take them.
Oh no.
So this is a great segue to what I'm calling his half decade of blatant shittiness. This is probably his moral low point. So Una, when I say the phrase ultra evangelical man, what phrases come to mind?
Ultra evangelical man? I think a cowboy hat, fake ruggedness, khakis, Christianity, but also connected to an MLM.
I think that fits because I have rampant hypocrisy and justifiably quote unquote rebellious children.
Ooh.
So I mentioned earlier the Terry family fostered a trio of kids. And for Randy, they seem to be a very good prop for most of his life because
Ugh.
lucky for him, they were mixed race children. And so whenever he was asked about his children, he would always say, quote, one by birth and three black foster children.
What?
Yep. So let's go through the foster children for now. We'll start with Ebony. She was the oldest. Terry fostered her at the age of 12. And in 2004, when she was fully grown, Randy described his relationship with her as, quote, good. However, it should be noted that she left the Terrys in 1991 at the age of 16 and eventually converted to Islam, a religion that Randy referred to as, quote, full of murderers and terrorists.
Yeah, he's one to talk.
Yeah. When asked by the Washington Post about her conversion, Ebony said, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, that Randy kind of gets a lot of the credit for this because he often would say that the more people decry religion, the more accurate it probably is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So next we have Tila. Tila was the youngest in the family. She was eventually adopted. Randy made a point in that same Washington Post article that he just out of nowhere he was like, "You do know I never adopted the oldest daughter, right?" Just
Wow. Dad of the year.
mm-hmm. So Tila was 3 when she was fostered and was eventually banned from the family because she got pregnant twice out of wedlock before turning 18. The first time was a miscarriage. But yeah, Randy kicked her out of the family before she turned 18.
I,
So that's 2 foster children who are gone before they're adults. Which brings us to Jamil, who was 8 when the Terrys took him in. And Jamil was the most public facing of the foster kids and worked alongside Randall in a few of his campaigns. In 1998, when Randy was accused of being racist, Jamil went to the press to counter those claims. In 2000, he worked with his dad on the Steve Forbes presidential campaign, and the same year he also joined his dad in Randy's newest campaign to stop the legalization of same-sex marriage. And in 2004, Jamil came out as gay via an article in Out magazine. And Randy, like any good father, released an article before Jamil's piece could come out that blamed Jamil's homosexuality on bad moments in his childhood, expressed how disappointed he was in his son, and accused Out magazine of having other people write the article and then signing his son's name.
Oh, Jesus.
When Jamil was asked what he thought about this, he said, quote, my father's first and foremost aim is to protect himself. He talks about how I prostitute the family's name, but he's used the fact that he saved my sister from abortion and rescued me from hardship in his speeches and interviews. What's the difference? God knows my heart. Randall Terry does not know my heart.
Yeah, Jamil. Yeah.
There was one story that was just like I just wanted to hug him, where he was like he would go through Randy's library, and Randy kept a little library on homosexuality, to just to know what he was talking about when he was preaching against it and how it's the devil. And Jamil was like, I would just turn to the pictures of like men without shirts and just be like, fuck, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
And just like,
Damn it.
yeah, probably the most tragic thing with this story, though, is Randy at one point apparently yelled at him, I'll be at your funeral when you die before you're 40, because he was convinced that like being gay equals
Oh,
AIDS. And Jamil would die young, but from a car crash.
oh,
Yeah.
poor
So,
kid.
but of course, we can't leave Cindy out of this. Cindy, his wife from Bible school, who was out there every single freaking day protesting, making it her full-time career, even while pregnant. In 2000, Randall divorced Cindy,
What?
which is wild since Randy has been very vocal about how no-fault divorce should not be a thing.
The hypocrisy.
Noting the divorce and him, quote, abandoning his wife and kids, Randall was kicked out of his church.
Good.
This led him into getting into charismatic Episcopalianism for a couple of years before finally entering Roman Catholicism. Yep, yep, he's
No.
one of them.
Oh,
He's a
not,
late convert who knows everything.
no, God, the worst.
This new faith led him to believe that his previous marriage to Cindy, which had been full of, quote, tragic problems, was actually an invalid sacrament, so his divorce was totally cool in the eyes of Roman Catholic God.
Yeah, bro, it's an annulment. We got you.
As Randall told the Washington Post, quote, the Bible doesn't condemn divorce, but it does condemn homosexuality.
This dude is exhausting.
Yeah. And with all of this divorced dad energy just sitting around,
Oh
it's
no.
gotta go to good use. And what better? Oh, fuck. I forgot to mention. I actually deleted this. The same year that he got divorced, he married his former assistant.
Oh, you know they were stepping for years.
He was in his early 40s, and I believe she was 25 when they got married.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
But what better use is there for divorced dad energy than to put together 12 tracks of bluesy country bullshit? In 2003, he released Dark Sunglasses Day, an album that
No,
asks, what if super early Toby Keith music was still popular?
no.
I listened to the whole album.
Wow.
The best song are the ones that he doesn't sing on. There's one where there's a woman singing, but he's such a shitty weirdo. He doesn't list the name of the singer in the track or in any of the album credits.
Incredible.
And then there's an instrumental which he kind of credits by saying it's the music is played by a country singer, Ronnie Millsap. His touring band is playing the backup on it. And you can tell it's just a bunch of fucking pros being forced to play bullshit. So on this one track where they just kind of get to let loose, it sounds really fucking good, at least comparatively. There's an innuendo bluesy love song called Let the Cookies Burn.
Oh, gross. Oh
It's
no.
Oh, it sucks shit. But I think now's probably a good time to at least send you Dark Sunglasses Day. I was wondering what emotion I would see first, and disappointment wins.
I cried myself to sleep. I cried in all of my dreams. I broke down the moment I woke up. I can't believe you're gone. I don't know where we went wrong. I'm drinking bitter tears in my coffee cup. It's a dark sunglasses day, trying to keep my heart from giving away. Just how bad I'm doing since losing you. Bloodshot eyes can't tell the truth.
It's the background music for the main character who's just arrived at the Margaritaville
Oh
retirement
my
community in
god.
Florida.
Like you can feel the angry smoking going on in that room. Just like someone's got a palm on the side of their lip, just being like, fucking Ronnie Millsap not being on tour. This is fucking bullshit. Just playing scales and acting like it's impressive. My God. So going through the songs, the the Let the Cookies Burn, the Let's Fuck song is followed by a song called Daddy's Girl. It's
No.
unhinged. But probably the most insane is track 6, United We Stand, which is a, rah rah fuckery kind of a song, but it's also lies because the song is all about, about how he remembers his dad used to pray for America and all that, when in actuality, Randall Terry's dad was a secular dude who was
Yeah.
chill. He grew up in a family full of feminists. Almost all of his aunts work for abortion groups.
He doesn't know where he went wrong with his son.
Oh my god, yeah. I wrote that this is very much like Aaron Lewis, the guy who's the lead singer of Stained. He's now a country singer, and every song that he sings is just cosplay bullshit.
Yes.
It's just like, I love America, and fuck you if you don't get it. And he's like, you're from Vermont, my dude. Fuck off.
Right.
Yeah. So Randy did release a new album this year, but I'm not going to fucking listen to it.
Fair enough. You've done so much already.
It's an infuriatingly bad album. But to round things out, we're gonna jump to 2005 when Randy gets out of this deep pit and he gets a new job. He gets a new lease on life, and that's as the legal advisor and spokesman to the parents of Terry Schiavo.
No.
So for you youngins who don't know why that's an immediate red flag, Terry Schiavo was a woman who suffered a severe brain injury that left her legally brain dead. However, she could be kept alive via a feeding tube. Her husband said she wouldn't want to live like that and wished for the tube to be removed. Her parents disagreed and wanted the tube to remain. And so it became this huge legal battle as to who has the right to decide what to happen, which is why everyone should get a living will or tell your partner and your parents what you fucking want.
Yeah, but in writing.
Right. And so Randy was the representative for Terry's parents who wanted her to remain on the tube. And he was paid a flat fee of $10,000 and moved to Florida to help them do this. Now, he would later be quoted as saying that he would have done it for free, but, they didn't offer him, they offered him the money and he didn't offer to do it for free. So he just kept his mouth shut,
I mean, none of that money is going to now anyway. Am I right?
Oh my God. I still don't know if he ever paid that money back. I don't know if it's still just sitting there or if they're just slowly garnishing his paychecks or what.
They should absolutely well, and that's probably just it, is he receives 10,000 here and there as a gift.
Right.
What's to be garnished.
Mhm.
But all of that is to say that even Germany paid the reparations.
So Terry's husband ends up winning out on this, and the tube was removed at the end of 2005. But Randy decided to stay in Florida and ran in the GOP primary for state senate against incumbent state senator Jim King. And this time around, Randy made medical malpractice, the sanctity of marriage, property rights, and ending funding of undocumented immigrants the keys to his campaign.
When you said, and this is when he made medical malpractice, I was like, oh, and so now he pretended to be a doctor? We're at
oh my God,
stage
if only. Oh, fuck, if only. No, he was he wants to focus on medical malpractice, aka, you can't just pull out someone's feeding tube, or death with dignity will never stand. That sort of shit.
Great. Yeah, that's the malpractice.
But he wants to assure everyone it's 2005. He has really mellowed out thanks to that pseudo bankruptcy and divorce. So, don't worry about the old Randy. He's gone. So King heavily outraised Randall, but Randy attributed that to not really having time to run due to him getting his master's degree online and studying Arabic at the same time.
What?
Yeah, I don't know if he ever actually learned Arabic, but his master's degree was in national intelligence or something like that.
Oh no.
King crushed Terry 67-33. And finally, jump cut to 2012. And this is when Randall ran for president in the Democratic primary.
Sure.
Yeah. He moved his family to well, it kind of makes sense because 2012 is the year that Obama was running for re-election. No one was running against him. So if you want attention, it's not terrible.
Yes.
And he does end up getting 18% in Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, you have so much to answer for.
So Randy's really serious about this. He picks up his family, moves them to Purgatesville, West Virginia.
Time out.
Yeah.
Does he have does he have new kids now?
Yes, he does. He has 4 rambunctious boys, as he calls them.
Oh, no.
He does not really mention his other family that often.
They were no longer exist. Yeah.
So he moves them to Purgatesville, West Virginia, which is in the eastern panhandle in the mountains, and gets really serious about the campaign, which means getting on the ballot in 4 states and raising exactly $300.
Oh boy. And Ben knows more than that.
And by this point, Randall's fame had fallen so much that the Miami Herald referred to him as, quote, little-known presidential candidate, and only mentioned him because Vermin Supreme glitter bombed him in New Hampshire.
Yeah, and that's why he's our hero.
Randy did stay in the presidential election after he lost the Democratic nomination. He stayed on as an independent candidate and won 13,000 votes, which is good enough for 9th overall. And at the exact same time, he was also running for Congress.
Pick a lane, dude.
No, Randy has shit to do, and he's in the middle of nowhere, West Virginia, where there are no abortion clinics to yell at. So what else is he gonna do? He's gonna run for Congress in Florida.
But he's in West Virginia.
He doesn't go to Florida, but he's running.
What?
Yeah, he's running against Democratic Congressman Alcee Hastings. No Republican filed, so when Randall filed to run as an independent, he was Alcee's only competitor. And based on his check for the race, he's still living in West Virginia during this time. And his campaign was essentially a set of daytime television ads. One, he called Samuel L. Jackson racist for supporting Barack Obama. And the rest kind of was like those really shitty abortion billboards that drive around that have fetuses on the side. Yep, just commercials of that between Judge Mathis and Judge Judy. Vote for Randy. Weirdly enough, he never really said anything about Congressman Hastings in his ads and seemed to focus entirely on trying to get Barack Obama to lose. But since he was Hastings' only competitor, Randall won 12% of the vote, which is his best general election finish to date.
All right.
Which brings us to today. Back in, May? Probably May. Randall easily won the Constitution Party's nomination for president and selected Pastor Stephen E. Broden of Texas to be his running mate. As for a platform, Terry and Broden do not seem to have one. The closest I can find to a campaign goal on their website is sort of a Drudge Report-esque chyron that says, defend children, defeat the Democratic nominee, destroy the Democratic Party. And they call this their 3D battle plan because it's defend, defeat, destroy.
Yikes.
So this is the reasoning behind this is from the Bible verse, 1 John chapter 3, verse 8, that calls to destroy the works of the devil. And below that, in less than kind terms, they refer to gender affirming care and people being gay or queer as works of the devil that are supported by the Democratic Party. Ipso facto, you gotta destroy the Democrats.
Yeah, as you will see from my yarn board behind me,
Look,
it
we've all
makes
done
too much
proofs.
sense.
So their plan really only has like kind of 2 steps. It's more like one plan for Randy, one plan for Stephen that leads to the goal. Since Randall is Catholic, he gets Catholics to lead the Democratic Party, which he calls the largest voting bloc of the party. Since Stephen is black, he gets the black voters to lead the party, aka the second largest voting bloc for Democrats. And if the plan works, a small percentage of people leave the Democratic Party permanent, which means the Democrats will never win an election ever again and die off. Una, is there anything you see wrong with this plan?
I mean, the fact that it's created by a small-time petty narcissist and the Republicans have that already, so...
it is. I definitely don't know who, as current Democrats, would go to the Constitution Party, especially when, we've talked about the American Solidarity Party. And if abortion means that much to you, it's an easier swing to them than it is to the Constitution Party, by and large. The main thing I found wrong is that they are completely wrong about the voting block sizes of what they're talking about.
100%, yeah.
So, based on Pew Research, he uses percentages, not hard numbers. Catholics, just amongst religions, are dwarfed by atheists and agnostics in the Democratic Party. And using PRII's 2022 survey of religions in America, has religiously unaffiliated with 26.8% of Americans, and Catholicism with 23.1%. So taking those percentages from voting blocks and the number of Americans who ascribe to those faiths or unfaiths, atheists and agnostics beat Catholics handily.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's wrong. That's totally wrong.
He's still stuck in 1960 Kennedy wins in a landslide kind of, voting block. But then too, it's the lapsed Catholics might be a large voting block, and we absolutely want abortion clinics.
Right.
We want them open in between the times that we go to Christmas and Easter with our parents and pretend like we always do this. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it's also, it's really easy for Catholicism to be the largest faith when Protestantism is split between 800 different religions.
Right.
It's so,
No one's thinking about that Orthodox Christianity block, though.
and then if you look at, just if by race, I hate to say this, there's kind of a lot of white people, kind of more white people than black people. And so I think if we're talking voting block,
Right.
that's no, that's inaccurate by a lot.
Right. Are Black women single-handedly saving democracy?
Yeah.
Yes.
But that's
Yes.
also a great point. Women as a voting block is larger than both. It's like, I need your description of your definition of voting block. I need your definition of what makes these the largest, because there are so many asterisks and citations and qualifiers that need to exist for what you're saying to be accurate. So that's their plan. That's the whole thing. But hilariously, they can't even unify their own party.
Oh, what a shock.
The state affiliates of Utah, Nevada, and Idaho have split away, and instead of endorsing Randall Terry, they have chosen to endorse the convention runner-up, survivalist and former InfoWars regular Joel Skousen, to be their nominee.
Incredible. I love this so much.
I could not find a reason for this. Some people are assuming that it's like the Mormon delegation of the Constitution Party, because like Utah, Idaho, and Nevada would, kind of have a higher Mormon population. I couldn't really find anything to back that up, though, but I think a lot of it is the fact that Terry doesn't actually have a campaign dead set on winning. He has a campaign set on destroying a party, and that's going to help, the other major party in doing so.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if I had to make a guess, it's a very defeatist candidacy.
Oh yeah, but I also think like the Idaho Utah splinter group makes sense if we're assuming that this third party is essentially like a radical extreme Christian nation response to like a voting party.
Yeah.
And in which case it's like, yeah, that you're going to have like those fringe Latter-day Saint groups. They're not going to vote for a Catholic.
Right. 100. Yeah. People, oh my God.
They want to live off the grid and like, yeah, just wait until the feds show up so they can start using some of the stockpiled ammo that they got in the back.
Yeah. I mean, it never goes, well, that probably goes bad eventually, but
yeah.
I don't know the expiration date on gunpowder, but yeah, as it stands right now, Randall Terry's on the ballot in 11 states, which is worth about 124 electoral votes, mathematically ineligible with that amount. They've missed the ballot in 25 states. And it's not looking good for a party that has barely any money as it is right now, especially with them splitting like this.
No, incredible. We love to see it.
Yeah. I'm a little worried what's going to fill the void. Maybe just the Republicans. I don't know. Like, I've been thinking about this. The whole point of the Constitution Party has been more conservative, more religious, hyperfixation on the Constitution. I don't see how that's much different than what the Republicans currently are. I mean, it almost feels like it's a good fit for people who like what the Republicans stand for now, but the main breaking point is the cult of personality. Like they can't go with that.
Yeah.
And so they're stuck with this.
Yeah. Yeah. If Trump has a heart attack in the next 80 days.
Yeah.
I could see these loon bins kind of creeping into a vacuum.
Oh man, so that's the story of Randall Terry thus far. It's, my God, he's a terrible human being. He's just really
shitty human being.
Extraordinarily shit. And awful to his kids, awful to his first wife, gave up on, he still protests abortions, but he's nowhere near like as involved in that as so many other people are right now. He's relegated himself to the back bin of history and seems content with it. And like I said, I don't know if he's ever paid Planned Parenthood and the National Organization for Women the $2 million he owes them. Or if they settled out of court.
In the words of the mid-20 teens, time's up.
Oh my God, fuck off. End podcast, delete, escape. Oh man. But yeah, that's Randall Terry, Very exciting. Well, that's one of the mid-majors down. 2 more to go.
Whew.
Oh, the Green Party had their convention this weekend too.
Adorable.
They chose Jill Stein. She won very easily.
Yep.
She
cranking it out on the Twitters.
She chose a guy named Butch Ware, who is a professor at the University of California, Santa Barbara, to be her vice president.
Okay.
Haven't read a lot on him yet. I went to his Rate My Professor. Sounds like a hellish experience if you're a student of his. Like the word disorganized comes up multiple times.
Oh, he's gonna be great.
At least 2 people said he did not submit grades in time, and so yeah, it's a lot of that. So I'm intrigued to at least search out whatever else I can find during this time. So, but ideally next time, if I'm feeling good about it, we're going to be hitting the Libertarian Convention, talking about their nominee Chase Oliver, who dare I say is going to be the least heartburn inducing of the people we talk about.
Hey, I love it.
But yeah, well, I guess we'll see you next time here on Gadfly. Dark Sunglasses Day. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Is it because he's sad? I don't know.
Oh no. Is it weekend at Birdie's? Oh no.
Oh no. Gadfly is a production of Added Serotonin. Our episodes are edited by Brianna Valentine of Rem Alternus Productions. Our theme song is Sophomore Makeout by Silent Partner, and you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at GadflyPod.
Ready to level up your cosplay game? Check out the Geek Forge on Etsy. With a variety of props to give your photos that extra spark, you'll find just what you need. Hold magical fire in the palm of your hand, or take a potion to restore your mana. With a large variety of colors, you can choose your own magical flavor for your cosplay. Bring drama to your photo shoots with these vibrant props and more, all available at the Geek Forge. Are you ready to level up your cosplay?